Hey guys, Firewolf here, and today I am going to talk about a game that I don't usually talk about and haven't really been posting lately, but I feel this has to come up. I'm going to talk about all the offensive operators in Rainbow Six Siege, Steel Wave, that are on right now. So keep up. I'm going to explain weaknesses, what situations are good for, and like what gun to use. So get ready and just let's go. Starting up, we have Sledge. He is an offensive operator, of course. I'm going to talk about that. Would recommend for beginners if you want to learn how to rush. Sledge is a very good rush kind of operator. He has his ability is the hammer, and just it goes through walls if they're breakable, not reinforced, and reinforced doors. So very good. I would recommend using his rifle because it's no kickback whatsoever, very steady shots, and is perfect basically. So I would recommend Sledge. He's a pretty good operator. We have Thatcher. Thatcher is, I recommend 100%. His EMP grenade can be very useful against mute, bandit, and Cade. So then you can take out electrified walls or anything else electrified, which would be very useful to your team if they are using Ace or Thermite. And his shotgun, I've heard, is pretty good, but I also recommend, all these operators, I recommend the rifle. Next up, we have Ash. Now, I don't exactly recommend. I heard her kickback is pretty bad, and her hitbox is, the only reason I would recommend is if you're wanting to learn to rush and you don't mind basically not getting shot, because her hitbox is broken. No hitbox whatsoever. I apparently never hit any shot on her. The best way to kill her is to the head. So basically, if you miss headshots, it's over for you. Really fast because she has no armor, basically. So I would recommend if you want to learn how to rush. Her breach charges, though, pretty good. She can shoot them and it blows up walls, basically. Walls if they're not reinforced, and doors. So would recommend if you're wanting to learn how to rush, but don't recommend if you can't get used to kickback. Next up is Thermite. His gun, his rifle is really good. It can pack a punch if you shoot, if you can hit right. His ability can blow up reinforced walls or any door, basically. So really good ability. It takes a while to start up though, and it doesn't work with mute or electrified. But I would recommend. That's how I started out. I started out using Thermite. He's pretty good, but later on, Ace takes him over. Basically, Ace would be a lot more useful than him. Next up is Twitch. I do not recommend Twitch whatsoever unless you're really just trying to play support and trying to get rid of mute stuff and the electrified stuff. Her FAMAS is incredibly, like, it can pack a punch, but it ruins you in the end with kickback. Like, her kickback will start you shooting up to the ceiling. So basically, unless you're really good at fixing kickback, I do not recommend this character, especially for beginners. I do not recommend for beginners. Her shotgun, though, I do like, because it can do damage to people, it can take out cameras, and it can take out their stuff. So I would recommend if you're just trying to play support, but I do not recommend if you can't shoot a gun with kickback. Next up, we have Montagne. Montagne is kind of a toxic player. He has an extendable shield, basically covers up his whole body. I recommend going with his pistol instead of his revolver, unless you can hit your shots and reload quick enough. His pistol, though, holds enough ammo to basically last you a while. His revolver does not whatsoever. You'll have to reload every time. So I recommend using the pistol. He's very good for securing the area and hostage. He's basically just a support. You rush in first, they shoot you. You can't break his shield whatsoever. You can't knock him back with the shield. He's basically just your teammates stand behind you and they shoot from behind. And you just block every shot basically. Next up we have Glaz. Now Glaz is okay if you're playing at the right map. Now, his thing is you throw smoke bombs and you can see through smoke, basically. It's a heat signature sniper, basically. So I don't really recommend it. Unless you have a really, really good trigger finger, you're not gonna really get any kills. Perfect, though, for plane, which is an airport, that is a map, because you can shoot through the windows. Really good for that. And extracting hostage, because you can throw smoke bombs in and no one will see it coming. Next up is my favorite character, Fuse. Now, I totally recommend this if you're starting out the game. Fuse is really good if you know where to place his cluster charge. So basically, he can stick a cluster charge to any breakable surface, shoots in like hockey pucks, and it blows stuff up, and it can kill people with it. You get 3 breach charges, cluster charges, and they do damage. I recommend using his LMG, because it doesn't really have a kickback, and it mows people down, like takes 3 shots and they're done. I really recommend it. It's a good medium to short range, and it can go long range if you just take your shots. But I recommend it. He's very good for secure area, sometimes bomb, but never use him during hostage. You have a high chance of hurting the hostage and killing him. So I would not recommend for hostage. Blitz, one of the most toxic people. He has to run in with a shield. His shield can flash people. So basically it's a flashbang on a shield, and they're blind for a little bit, and you can just shoot them. So I recommend, if you want to start using shield, it's basically really toxic, but I recommend using his pistol that does the most damage, and just, I don't know, I really don't like him myself. I don't recommend unless you're trying to be toxic. Next up is IQ. My friend Peyton uses this girl. He likes her a lot. She can track the electronic stuff with her thing, so she can see through walls and track the electric stuff, so you can tell where people are, really. I don't know much about her weapon, but Peyton likes to use her weapon. Apparently it's pretty good. He's pretty good with her. So I kind of don't recommend, because there's other operators that would be a lot better to use, but hey, I don't know. I've never used her, really. So maybe use her, maybe not. Try her out. I really recommend you try out all these guys. Next up is Buck. I do not recommend using Buck. His rifle, he has 2 rifles, one that's a automatic, one that's not. His automatic has a terrible knockback or recoil, and his shotgun, his skeleton key just turns his rifle into a shotgun, and that does the same damage. So it's really not worth it unless you're rushing in, destroying walls, and destroying barricades. So I don't recommend Buck. He's not really that useful. Blackbeard. Blackbeard is really good on certain maps where you have to peek windows. Unless you're peeking windows, I do not recommend using Blackbeard at all. I recommend his rifle. It's pretty good. You put a shield on the rifle, and basically the shield takes the damage instead of you. So unless you're peeking windows, I don't really expect you to use him, unless you're like beginning and trying to learn the basics. He's alright, but really he's only OP for windows. Capital I 100% recommend. His ability is to, he has a crossbow, and it can shoot 2 fire arrows and 2 smoke arrows. Pretty good for all situations besides the fire arrows on hostage, but you can use the smoke arrows to pick up the hostage, smoke, pick up hostage, run. His rifle's pretty good. I've used him a couple times, but the fire arrows do damage. If they're in secure area and you shoot that one in, someone's gonna die probably. So I recommend using him and getting to know him. Next up is Hibana. Now, I've never really used Hibana, but I know that she can blow up reinforced walls, so I kind of recommend it, but don't at the same time. I'd rather use Ace, to be honest. I've never really used her. I've accidentally been used her like once maybe, and nothing really good came out of it. Um, Basically, I don't know anything about her gun and stuff, but I mean, if you want to try her out, go ahead. Jackal is one toxic player in secure area. If you see, you can turn on his vision thing, and then there's footprints, and then you can scan the footprints, and it tells the location of the defensive player. So basically, in secure area, and you get tracked by Jackal, you're screwed because he will come for you basically, and everyone knows where you are. So basically, kind of toxic. His rifle is really good. I recommend using his rifle if you're using him. I recommend for beginners. He's not that hard to use, and he's pretty OP. Ying, I don't recommend for secure area or bomb, but I do recommend for hostage 100%. She basically can throw a stun grenade, but it's like a big stun grenade, so it like affects everyone, even if you're not really looking at it, and it doesn't affect her because she can put a shield over her eyes, really. And so basically, just run in, throw a stun grenade, throw some smokes, pick up the hostage, and run. She's pretty quick. Her gun is pretty good, no recoil whatsoever. Remember, I do not recommend any of the shotguns unless it's really Thatcher. Thatcher has a pretty OP shotgun. But basically, don't use anyone's shotgun, especially Ying's. But Ying is pretty good is really good for hostage, but nothing else really. Next up is Zofia. Zofia is really good. I 100% recommend to save up the money and buy her or get the deluxe edition. Really, you should get the deluxe edition. It's extra money, but you get 2 rows. You get the first row and the second row and third row, but you don't get the last row where it's like 20,000 and above. I recommend saving up and buying her if you don't get the deluxe edition. Basically, she has a concussion one and an impact grenade. It shoots both, but you can switch them around. So basically, shoot a wall down or a door, and then you shoot a concussion in, blinds everyone. You can run in and kill. Very good for secure area or hostage, but maybe not bomb. I wouldn't use her for bomb. I would use others, but her gun is really good. I recommend using her, and maybe you can even get good at bomb with her. Next up is Dokubai, whatever her name is. Don't recommend whatsoever. Really, her ability is useless unless you're trying to steal the cameras from the defense, which really doesn't do anything. Her rifle is bad, her shotgun is bad, and her secondary is bad. So basically, I don't recommend whatsoever. You should not use her unless you can really use that trigger finger. Right, we are up to Leon. Now, Leon is really good. Basically, she sends a drone up. There's a drone, scans the area, and if anybody moves, they basically get tracked. So basically, really good for any situation. Run in, send off the drone. They have to hold still. Kill them while you can. If they don't hold still, then they're tracked. So pretty good. I recommend. Sort of. Her rifle is pretty good too, but I kind of recommend, kind of don't. I really don't have her yet. I'm trying to save up for someone else. But I would recommend because she's pretty good, and you can use her drone to a really good advantage. Next up, we have Finka. Now, Finka is really good support. Basically, she runs in and sends an adrenaline surge. It gives you 30 extra health, and gives you extra strength. And if you're not within her range, you can get basically right off the spot. Now, really good support. I don't know about a rifle though. I'm saving up for it because I really want to support my team and like get adrenaline surges in as much as I can. I know you have a certain amount, but it can be really good if used at the right time. So I do recommend using her rifle. Next up is Maverick. Maverick is okay. He has a blowtorch that can go through anything, really, any breakable surface. He's not affected by electricity, apparently, because I've had that happen for some reason. So basically, you can just make a hole with the blowtorch and then just fire in, or make like a peak hole and fire in. So I recommend, but he is a lot of money to save up for, so if you're not into that, then probably don't get him. Next up, we have Nomad. I don't know really how she works, but I think her ability is a launcher you can shoot in and it knocks people back. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but if not, I might be wrong, who knows. But she can be good. I don't really recommend saving up for her unless you like are into knocking people back and shooting them while they're down. I don't really know how this could be useful in any situation besides maybe really I don't know. So I really don't recommend, but I mean, hey, try it out if you want. Next up, we have Gridlock. Now, Gridlock can be good in secure area, maybe not hostage, I don't know, but secure area. She throws a thing down and like sets off spikes in that area, that vicinity. So basically, if they're in secure area and in one room, they're technically done for. She's a big target though. Would not really recommend because of that, because you could get destroyed in a matter of seconds if they hit your body with any sort of good gun. But if you can somehow find a way to get over that, I don't know about a rifle. I don't know how it works. But hey, go for it if you think you can handle her. Alright, up next is Nock. Basically the Caveira of Rainbow Six Siege, but for offense. Don't know how she really will be good unless... So she's basically Caveira and visual. So basically is silent, can turn silent, and you can't see her on camera. So I guess that's pretty good. I don't know. Never used her. I kind of recommend if you're like going into rush and like taken by surprise. So yeah, go ahead and use her, I guess. So next up is Amaru. I know her ability is to like hinge into a thing and you like go straight into one of the windows, whatever. I don't know, barricaded windows. Basically a death wish kind of operator, because you just rush in and I don't know how it works. I mean, if someone's trying to shoot you through the window, I guess they do get knocked if you hit them. Kind of a death wish though, unless you're smart with how they play. Sometimes they get in without me knowing, to be honest, but I'm really not that good. But I guess you could use her. She would be pretty useful for certain situations. Maybe hostage. Go in, grab them, jump out the window you went in. I don't know. I don't know about a rifle. I doubt it has any recoil, so I would definitely use it. I honestly don't really recommend, but you can use her as well. Next up we have Callie, the great quick scope. She has a sniper. Basically, I would only recommend using the sniper because I think she just has a shotgun after it. So basically, she shoots, I think, something into a building, and it destroys all electronics. So I would recommend using that instead of Thatcher maybe, because the sniper is a one-shot, and you're dead if you get shot even once by it. So recommend, but she costs a lot, so be ready for that. Next up is Iana. Now, I do recommend using her and saving up her. She has a pretty good gadget. It's a drone, but it looks like you, and you can run in and see through this drone. You can't shoot though, but you can basically give away locations and not get injured by doing it, if you're in a safe area, that is. So I do recommend getting her. She is a pretty good offensive player. If like they need you to like run in, basically just send in your drone, and if they shoot you, they take out your drone, then you can run in and kill them while they're like wondering what happened, basically. You can't really tell the difference between her and the drone, so honestly they're gonna shoot the drone. So I do recommend getting her, so save up. Now for the good old Ace. I do 100% recommend saving up and getting him, because he's basically Thermite and Hibana combined. He throws breach charges, but they like take out the wall one at a time, all the way down. Recommend it because then you can throw it, get into a safe area, and like peek, which is really good. His rifle, on the other hand, kind of has a kickback to it, but you can get used to it really quick, and it does damage. You really want to get Ace. I 100% recommend Ace, and he's good for basically any situation. Well, that's it. That was all the operators. They're all the offensive operators are pretty good, besides the ones with the kickback. Do not use any of their shotguns. There's no use in using their shotguns, because you're not going to really get into a close combat range, because they're going to kill you before you even try to get a shot off. So that's all for today, guys. If you have anything you want me to maybe fix, please leave a comment down below. This is my first one. I don't really know much about some of the operators because I've never really like tried using them because I've never found a use for them. But next up, I will do defense, and I will explain maybe better next time because I know I probably messed up something. But thank you all so much for watching, and have a howling good day.